right, we are going to review adding and subtracting fractions, okay? No positive and negative numbers right now, just normal addition and normal subtraction of fractions. Page 10 of your interactive notebook has the steps. If you kind of forget as you do your activity today, but I wanted to go over a couple of problems together, so you should have your whiteboard out, your marker, and you should be doing these problems as I do them. Okay, so we're going to start with some adding problems first. So the first one we're going to do is 4/9 plus 13/18. So step one, when we add and subtract fractions, is to find a common denominator. So if we look at this, 9 and 18. So I could do 9 times 18 and figure out what my really big common denominator is, but that's a lot of work. Okay, much simpler way for this one would say, oh, 9 can go to 18, so we know that 18 is going to be our common denominator. So 9 times 2 is 18, 4 times 2 is 8. So remember, you're going to do these problems with me so that you can practice doing this. All right, plus, this one's already an 18th, so we don't need to change it, so we can just rewrite it. So now we have 8/18 plus 13/18. Second step is you add the numerators. When we add fractions, we do not add the bottom numbers. So 8 plus 13 is 21, and 18 stays the same. We don't say it's 36, all right? The bottom number stays the same. Okay, step 3 when you add and subtract fractions is to simplify. So whether that means to reduce it, convert it to a mixed number, either one of those. So in this case, this is an improper fraction because the 21 is bigger. The top number is bigger than the bottom number. So we have to ask ourselves how many 18s are in 21. That's 1 time. How many is left over? 3 left over. Bottom number stays the same. So my final answer would be 1 and 3/18. All right, erase your board. Now we're going to do another addition problem. This time we're going to put in some mixed numbers. So 2 and 1/6 plus 3 and 2/6. So first step, common denominators. Oh, we already have 6's, so we're good. So then you're going to add the fractions. So 1/6 and 2/6 is 3/6. Okay, now you're going to add your whole numbers. 2 plus 3 is 5. Step 3, simplest form. We need to reduce this. So 3/6, I can divide both of them by 3. So this is going to equal 5 and a half would be my final answer. Okay, so that's adding fractions. So go ahead and erase your board. Now we're going to go on to subtraction. And if you look in your interactive notebook on page 10, you'll notice that the subtraction is the same steps. All right, so common denominators. Here we go. 7 and 4/5 minus 3 and 2/3. All right, let's look at this common denominator. So in this case, could 3 go to 5? Nope, that's not going to work. So 3 or 5 cannot be our common denominator. So the other thing you could do is, remember, you can multiply them. 15, 3 times 5 is 15. So that's going to be our common denominator. So 15, 15. This is still going to be a 3 out front. It's still going to be a 7. And we're still going to subtract. So we got to figure out our top number. So 5 times what is 15? 5 times 3. So on the top, 4 times 3 is 12. 3 times what is 15? Well, that's times 5. So 2 times 5 on top is 10. All right, now we can subtract. Step 2, we're going to do our fractions. 12/15 minus 10/15. 2/15. And now do your whole numbers. 7 minus 3 is 4. So my final answer would be 4 and 2/15. Because our third step of putting it in simplest form, we need to reduce it. It's already reduced. We cannot cut that down anymore. All right, One more thing we need to go over when we subtract is this. So erase your board. Okay, sometimes when you go to subtract, so 6 3/8 minus 1 5/8. So when you go to subtract that, first step, common denominators, we already have it, 8 and 8. But I see a problem. 3 minus 5. We can't do that. It would be a negative number. We can't do that. Okay? So we have to do what we call borrowing. So we did talk about this last year, whether you remember it or not. Okay? So how I want you to think of this is 6 pizzas. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 whole pizzas. My last pizza is cut into 8s, and I only have 3 of them. Okay, so here's 3 slices of pizza that are in 1/8 size. Now, I have to take 5/8 away, but the problem is I only have 3. So I need to break this pizza apart into 8s. I pull it apart, you know, like at Casey's when they put the pizzas on those little paper trays and they sell them, okay? So now you have all of these 8 broken apart, plus these 3. So what we did is we borrowed 1, so now we have 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we've got the 8 and the 3. That's 11. So if we look at this, you take your bottom number and you add it to your top number. So now the 3 would become 11. It's not 13. We don't just put a 1 right there like we do when we subtract whole numbers and decimals. Okay? So you're adding that bottom number to the top number. So 11 minus 5 we can now do, which is 6. Bottom number stays the same. 5 minus 1 is 4. Okay, last step, simplest form. We got to reduce it. 4 and divide these in half because they are even numbers. 3/4. 4 and 3/4 would be my final answer. Okay. All right. So you're going to go do a scavenger hunt now. The teacher is going to give you the paper for the scavenger hunt, and you will see them around the room. It's the Halloween problems that look like the haunted house on them. If there's one that requires borrowing, I've made a note on there that you have to borrow in order to solve this problem. So you need to go show your work in the paper that the teacher is going to give you, and then if you can't find your answer, you got to try to figure out what you did wrong. I have left a full answer key with the teacher so that if you get stuck, they can help you. All right, make sure you guys are staying focused and doing what you're supposed to be doing.